First place of residence was at KK Hospital. It was under construction at the time. Father used to be a bus driver at Mackenzie Road Depot of the Singapore Traction Company. He and another friend of his had a night job at the construction site where they were given one wooden hut as a quarters. Once we came, then his friend left and went and stayed on his own. That place was left for us, so we stayed in that, and I was very unhappy because in 1958 there had been floods in India and our house had collapsed, and we had reconstructed the brick house. It was brand new, and we stayed there only for about 3 months. And when we came to Singapore, and suddenly we were in this wooden hut, I was very disgusted and very unhappy about it. I didn't want to stay in Singapore. I wanted to go back. On top of that, you had the Rochor Canal just about 50 meters away from that place, and it was stinking like hell, black color water. It was totally disgusting. And mother, getting the smell from there, became sick. So it was like quite a bad time. Those days there were a lot of Sikhs who were doing watchman jobs all over the place. So nearly every building had a Sikh jaga who used to have his charpai outside, which he used to hang up in the daytime, and then he will put it in front of the door and sleep. The Gurdwara, the temple, was not very far from where we were staying. When we went to the temple, there were a lot of Sikhs there, and father introduced me to a lot of people. So I still remember distinctly one old man. I do not remember his name, but I distinctly remember what he told me. He says, "Look, in this country, I remember 4 things. He said, this country, the people of origin are the Malays, so always be polite to them, never be rude to them, do not say anything which will not make them happy. That's one thing. He says, secondly, he says, this island is ruled by the British. At that time, the British were still there, here. So make sure you learn English is the most important thing if you want a good job. Okay, and the best way to learn is whatever you can find, just read it." And I actually remember that I listened to his wise words, and I became a very avid reader. That's how I picked up English, and within 6 months, I topped the class in English. I got 92 marks out of 100. When I didn't know a word of English when I came to Singapore. There used to be a Khalsa English school in Khalsa Tarmuk Sabha in Niven Road. That was in 1959. Then in 1960, Mr. Jaswant Singh Gill, who was the principal of Pearl Bank School, he was kind enough to give me a place in Pearl Bank School. And looking at my record, that I was actually in primary 5 in Punjab when I came, and my only drawback was English. So he put me in primary 2 and said, let's try him out. And I did very well in primary 2, and he gave me double promotion, and I went to primary 4. I also had a lot of Punjabi classmates and schoolmates. There were more than 20 Sikh children, because there were a lot of them who were staying in Chinatown and whose parents were washermen there, and they were studying in this school. We had a lot of bad experience in the sense that there was a lot of this racist kind of remarks by a lot of these people. Sometimes they will say "Bai Tonche," then sometimes they will come from behind and push up your turban. One such incident happened when my turban came off, and in my anger I took a stone and threw at the guy, and it hit his forehead and he started bleeding. They brought me to the principal and he asked me what happened. So he told me, he said, look, if this thing happens again, come and complain to me. Don't go and take these stones and all, start throwing and all that. So I remember that incident. He called up the parents of the child and told them what their child had done and what had resulted. So they were quite apologetic. The third thing he said is, he says, whenever you do anything wrong in your village, only your village people will know about it. But he said in Singapore, you have people from 36 districts staying here. Okay, all the Sikhs, those days there were about 20,000 Sikhs staying in Singapore. And they were from all over Punjab. He says, if you do anything wrong here, the whole of Punjab will know about it. So you make sure you don't do anything wrong. That was one other word of wisdom which I never forgot. Generally he says, look, whatever you do as a Sikh, other people will not look upon you as yourself but as a Sikh. So make sure you don't do anything wrong because it will create a bad impression on the other races. So these were the 4 things that he told, although I have forgotten him and his name because I actually didn't see him much after that. But that was something which really remained with me all my life.